important for the U.S. right now and in the world. Black Lives Matter is our call to action. It is a tool to reimagine a world where Black people are free to exist, free to live. It is a tool for our allies to show up differently for us. I grew up in a neighborhood that was heavily policed. I witnessed my brothers and my siblings continuously stopped and frisked by law enforcement. I remember my home being raided. And one of the questions as a child I had was why? Why us? Black Lives Matter offers answers to the why. It offers a new vision for young Black girls around the world that we deserve to be fought for, that we deserve to call on local governments to show up for us. And anti-Black I'm not pro-Black Lives Matter because I don't believe it helps me or my family or my Black brothers and sisters.
I'm really passionate about the Black Lives Matter movement. The movement has a lot of power to make the country and this world a better place.
I don't believe Black Lives Matter is doing good. I believe they've turned into a terrorist organization.
I get very frustrated when I come across people who don't appreciate the struggle that African Americans have had to go throughout history.
A lot of people will get offended. They say, well, you're this color, you're brown, you're Black, you should be thinking this way. I don't think the way you expect me to think.
I really have to be honest on how I strongly feel about any organization at all. And I'm going to speak my mind about it. Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. Now, I mentioned about this before in a couple of videos that I've done in the past. And I made a very good point that ever since the George Floyd and then the Jacob Blake and then afterwards the Kyle Rittenhouse incident and how the outcome was and the things that happened. Now the thing is, I strongly feel that when protesters want to express their anger in a very healthy way and you know, by saying we're not going to take this anymore, enough is enough, and they start gathering together and marching, and I have nothing against that. And as far as, hold on for 1 second, hang on. Sorry, felt a sneeze coming, so I don't want to sneeze during my video. Now, as far as the Blue Lives Matter, the people that are with the favoring the police. Now, they both have their very good points. And I mentioned this before, they both have very good points. And I've already talked about how Blue Lives Matter, how they do have police officers that are very racist, and they don't give a fuck about Black people or Hispanic people and this and that. And the malice and the harassment that they get, even at some point, the deadly assault or violence that leads to death. there's some asshole cops that get away with it, and of course that pisses me off. It gets me angry. But I think they're exaggerating on how many of the cops are actually crooked. Now, I don't know exactly percentage-wise. It could be 40%, could be 45%. I don't know. That are corrupted, that are racist, and this and that. Now, I can understand that part because I do believe that there are some fair amount of cops, possibly 35%, who knows, or whatever, that are racist, that are corrupted, and they like to antagonize Hispanics and blacks. I do believe that. And people that are part of this militia that Kyle Rittenhouse is associated with, that he's friends with, I wouldn't doubt it if either some of them or half of them are actually racist, or possibly, I should say, to be fair, I should say they can't stand liberals, and then they feel that they deserve to die. Of course, they're not going to be stupid enough to say that. However, it doesn't mean that the Black Lives Matter are not in the same category, that they can't have radicals in their side, because they do. I do believe that, because I've seen the irrational violence of them destroying property. I do see how they actually cause a lot of chaos, and they don't stop and think. I mean, there's very good people in the Black Lives Matter protesting group. I mean, I do believe there's a lot of good people there that are trying to do the right thing, who follows the same ideas and views as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., you know? Martin Luther King, his way of doing things, I mean, it does make sense. It really does make sense. Now, there's also people in that same group that have good intentions, but they cannot control their anger. They can't control it. And then they end up becoming a little uncivilized, and in some cases, with some of them, they become very uncivilized. They smash cars. They would attack people by throwing things at them, or just expressing their anger in a very stupid way. They take things too far, a little too far, and then in some cases, with some of them, they take it way too far. And of course, I do believe there's also a third type of people that are in their group that are just opportunists, straight up opportunists. And I'm not going to mention names from where I live, but there's black people that actually that I've actually overheard them talking about, you know, how they support Black Lives Matter, and then they would say, these motherfucking punk police, we're gonna, I wish I could fuck them up, right? You know, and there's, see, all sorts of fucking stupid, all sorts of different stupidities with their ghetto trash talk, their low-life ghetto trash talk, and then how they would admit that they wish they could be part of the protesters, so they could actually have an opportunity to beat up somebody, to beat up some racist white people or whatever like that. And they're just putting down white people in general. There is not some, but white people in general. I mean, that's really fucking stupid. Those are called radical liberals, or just radicals. You know, to me, I should rather just call them stupid asses, because they're just a bunch of stupid asses, low life, ghetto trash, you know, no goods, you know, that kind of thing. And then they get involved. Some of them get involved in this group within the Black Lives Matter, and they participate. And that's how it is. Not just black people, but also Hispanics that feel the same way. There's some that have good intentions, but they take things a little too far, some way too far. And I'm pretty sure there's some Hispanics in that group that are just opportunists. And when that happens, and along with white people too, there's white people in there too, with the same category of what I just said. Now, when you have these three different types of people in that same one group, you're going to create a radical group. Yes, you have good intentions. I do support Black Lives Matter, but only to a degree. I only support them to a degree. I just don't approve of how they do some of their stupid shit. I mean, how does burning down buildings, like small little buildings, or a gas station, or setting something on fire, smashing windows from cars, picking a fight with militia groups, talking shit to them, and then provoking them to do some shit like that, and then Kyle Rittenhouse, which I think he had an agenda when he wandered off. This is just my opinion. I'm just making an opinion on this. He wanders off knowing how the Black Lives Matter group have their own, their own unstable type of people. He would, in hopes that he would actually piss somebody off. He sees a dumpster fire, I think, that he tries to put it out. He knows that just being there, just carrying that AR-15 was going to piss somebody off and cause them to attack him. And I think he was actually planning on doing that so he could have an opportunity to shoot somebody. So there's radicals on both sides. There's people that are just opportunists. But enough about him. I mean, I already said my whatever about him. The Black Lives Matter, they're very good, honest type protesters, real good people that are trying to do good. But there's also some that are a little bit radical because they can't control their anger, and there's opportunists, big time opportunists who just fucking dumbasses that and it's not, and I'm not talking about Kenosha, but anywhere in the U.S. And then they create all this type of havoc. How does destroying property and then setting things on fire gonna help? I mean, look what happened during the Watts riots. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were angry. They had the black people there at that time. They had every right to be angry. Seriously fucking angry because of what the cops did. The fucking piece of shit racist cops of what they did to black people. They have every fucking right to be angry. But they formed and then they created these three different types of people in this one group. Very good, honest black people who just want the corruption to stop. And then another group of people that are just as good, except they have issues with their anger and they take things too far. And there's also like street thugs or whatever like that are just joining in, causing trouble. Same thing with Hispanics, it's the same thing. And even during like the Vietnam War with the protesters, I mean, they had every right to be angry too. I mean, the government pretty much fucked them over. Sending kids to go fight in a war they had no business being in. And then there's, again, the three different types of people within that group. And then when the Vietnam vets came home, they weren't greeted with, we're glad to see you. A lot of the stupid protesters that couldn't control their anger, the second group, they spit at them. They started calling them baby killer. All sorts of stupid shit. Thinking that they're righteous. And they make the honest protesters that are trying to make a difference look bad. That's just how it is. And that's why there's so much chaos and so much bantering back and forth and arguing back and forth. I mean, there's no need for that shit. Well, I hope you see my point on this. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, you know what to do. And to all of you, take care.